Hello, welcome to episode 2 of Spectrum of James. This is my goal to release one of these every day. I actually failed yesterday. I got partially through recording one and then I had to stop because there was a lot of background noise and I wasn't able to get back to it. So this is episode 2, and I'm going to record episode 3 as well today and get back on track. Episode 2 is on neurodivergence. Um, and I'm going to start with a little bit of background. I grew up with an autism diagnosis, and di- I also had trouble making friends in my early teenage years and before that, and eventually figured out how to do that. But I always knew I had autism, that I had Asperger's, specifically an Asperger's diagnosis. Um, but it never really helped me. I never really understood what that meant. And so I kind of had to understand that for myself and going through and figuring out how to advance in social situations with my peers. I kind of became very self aware of everything I was doing and ran a series of social experiments to figure out the best way for me to act in social circumstances. And it worked out pretty well, and I was able to learn the skills I needed to, but I didn't really have a guide. I didn't really have any information. I didn't even really make the connection that it was because of Asperger's at the time. It's just something I knew I had. Um, and later on, in my early adult years, someone actually gave me like a one pager on Asperger's, which was like super interesting to read. Like these are the typical like symptoms. This is what they look like, and this is in general what a lot of Asperger's people end up doing. One of those things it said was many people with Asperger's pursue a career in engineering fields. I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I had not done any post secondary education at that point, and I really hated school altogether. Um, but I kind of just, kept going on my own and figuring things out myself. One time I was asked about my Asperger's, and I said, it's not a disability, it's just something that's part of me. And it just means that I'm a little different. Um, but it doesn't necessarily put me in like a position where I need help. It just means that some things are easier for me and some things are not. Um, and then it was around 2021, and it was Autism Awareness Month, and I was on the internet and I saw the word neurodiversity. And that was how I came to know about neurodiversity. I saw some people discussing symbolism and getting involved in Autism Awareness Month. I'd never really been involved or really cared or even knew about it before then, the month or neurodiversity at all. But it really resonated with me when I heard the term and I started looking more into it. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm neurodiverse because that's, I don't have a disability per se. By some definitions, I think I do, but I don't feel like I'm disabled in any way. I feel like I have superpowers in some specific ways, and then some other things I have coping mechanisms. Um, then, as years went on, I heard the term neurodivergent, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Is that the same thing as neurodiversity? And so I looked it up and I figured out that it's not. And I started reading a little bit more. I'm like, oh, okay, neurodiversity is like everyone's brains are different. And then I'm like, it's like fingerprints or like snowflakes, where every single one is different. There's no duplicates in people, in brains, in fingerprints. And so then the term neurodivergence really started to come into play, where neurodivergence is neurodiversity outside of the typical scope or non neurotypical. And then I'm like, okay, yes, I am neurodivergent. That makes so much more sense. Okay. And now, so I use the term neurodivergence when I refer to myself and things that I've learned. But also, the spectrum of James is very much neurodiversity because, like some things that I say, some things, experiences I have are not that divergent. There's a lot of different aspects and elements to me and who I am, neurological, social, technical, and it's just all this series is meant to be about me as a whole, not necessarily just about my own neurodivergence. So I talk about neurodiversity and neurodivergence in these episodes, and they mean different things. I just want to clarify that definition with that story. Thank you, and I'll see you next the next episode. Bye.